I'm gonna work this out. This is gonna work. So we're here with Janine DiVita, and you are right now rehearsing for the tour of If Then as Anne. And you have also been in Grease on Broadway, and Anything Goes, and The Mystery of Edwin Drood, and Young Frankenstein. And then you have a bunch of other fun credits that I read through. And you've done a bunch of regional shows, which is cool. And you have a bunch of cool skills, like you're a kickboxer instructor.
I'm certified to teach kickboxing. It's like a hip-hop kind of kickboxing. It's called turbo kickbox. So, I mean, it's definitely like dance-based, but it's a great, great fun workout.
Okay. So, what are you looking forward to most about the tour?
About the tour. I love to travel, so I am looking forward to spending time in new cities and all of that. And seeing how this show impacts audiences, I think, because it's already impacting me being in it, because it's just such a brilliant show that makes you just think about your life. And the music is so moving, and also just getting to know my cast members and spending time with them, because it's a great, great company.
How is the show going to be different than other shows you've done in a way of style?
Well, this is a very contemporary show, and I've done contemporary shows, but not that many of them. I've done a lot of, more like period pieces, iconic pieces, classic musical theater, and things like that. So this will be fun because it's so about life right now, and it's pertinent to things that are going on. And interestingly enough, the Far West Side development that Beth is working on, that plays a huge part in the Elizabeth story, was actually completed on the Far West Side. On the 7 train was extended to the 10th Avenue. I don't know if you know New York or not, but the 7 train was extended all the way to 10th, 11th Avenue. And so it's very topical. Like, this show is just very topical to things that are going on in New York now. And so that's cool. Like, it just feels very just appropriate and fulfilling as a human living in society today, I guess. So that's, I guess, a cool part of doing a contemporary show like this, just because it's so much about life in New York, and I live in New York, and things that are going on there and stuff like that. So I'm able to apply my day-to-day life to the show. So that's really cool.
What was the audition process like for this role?
The audition process for this role, I had to learn music from the show. I also understudy Elizabeth in the show, so I also had to learn Elizabeth material. So I learned Love While You Can, which is Anne's song with Kate. So I learned that, and I learned several songs that Elizabeth does. And then I went in for it and did the material for Michael Greif, our director, and David Stone, our producer, and Brian and Tom, who are our writers. And I got the call the next day. So it was actually a very short audition process for me. It was like a one and done, which is kind of rare. Normally it's a longer rehearsal or longer audition process, but for this project, the tour in particular, it kind of happened quickly.
Have you had any rehearsal mishaps yet?
Rehearsal mishaps? Oh my gosh. Well, Well, I'm already starting to learn the Elizabeth material, and so, just switching back and forth with the glasses and things like that, trying to keep all of that straight has been, a fun challenge. As far as Anne goes, no rehearsal mishaps. I mean, I feel like mishaps are just part of the rehearsal. Like, that's what rehearsal is kind of for. So it's kind of just understood that mishaps and mistakes and all of that's going to happen during rehearsal, because that's when you're learning. So, honestly, mishaps probably happen every day because you're Just trying. And I can't even like name them for you because it's just normal. Because it just happens because you're learning. But that's just all part of the process.
How do you feel taking on this role after Jen Colella?
Oh my gosh. I love Jen Colella. I've been a fan of hers for forever, ever since High Fidelity. So it's an honor, honestly. I'm very honored and humbled to take on a role that she created and make it my own and bring my own experiences to it and my own way of seeing the world to the role. I just hope I can, do it justice.
What made you decide to tour away from home?
The experience, to get to work with these people, get to work on this show, all of those things. Touring is definitely a fun thing to do, and I've toured once before with Young Frankenstein, and I loved it. I love going and traveling and seeing the country, and this is actually a really good schedule that we're on too. This tour in particular is a very good schedule. We go to really good cities, and we have longer stretches of time in each city, so we can actually like relax a little bit and feel a little bit at home in each city. So the schedule was really good. Plus my boyfriend loves this show and loves the Dina Menzel. So honestly, he's like so supportive of it that it was like, yeah, go girl, you go. So to have the support of, loved ones too, is also very helpful when you're deciding, whether or not to leave home and, kind of put your life on hold for a year.
What do you think as an actress is the most important thing to remember when going in for audition, rehearsal, or stage for a show?
Be prepared. I think like that is, for me, the more prepared I am, the more confident I am. Because there's so many variables that are out of your control when you're walking into an audition room or rehearsal or whatever. There's so many things that are out of your control. So the one thing that you can control is being prepared with, being familiar with the material, having your choices made. There's a caveat to that, though, because you don't want to be overly prepared where you can't be open to change, because things are always going to be changing. You're going to get directed in different ways. So I think a sense of preparedness, but then also a sense of openness.
How do you deal with rejection?
Oh, that's a hard one. That's just part of the business. I've gotten better over the years. There are times where it's harder than others the more you get invested in a project, but you have to allow yourself the time to feel sad, because that's a feeling and you have to respect your feelings. I usually give myself like an hour or two to like mope around, but then you pick yourself up and you do something that betters yourself. So, you either go to the gym, or you meet with a friend that makes you feel good, or you take a class that, inspires you, or you go see a show that inspires you. I think the best thing to do is to do something that makes you feel good and betters you. That's the best way to deal with rejection. That's how I deal with it. That always helps me get out of that, downward spiral.
What is one thing you wish you knew before you started in the business that you know now?
I guess to be open to the fact that it's going to ebb and flow. I guess, because that's just part of the lifestyle of it. It's very, like this, and sometimes it's like this. So it's, I think you just have to be open to that kind of lifestyle of going with the flow, but then also having, a sense of direction of what you want, because I really firmly believe in knowing what you want and going after it. And, definitely adapting to change and all of that stuff, because this is not necessarily a linear business in the way other professions are. So you have to be open to adapting to career changes and the way it might ebb and flow and stuff like that. All at the same time, though, keeping your feet on the ground and staying grounded.
That's what we're on.
What's the question?
What influenced you to become an actress?
My teachers influenced me. In growing up, I grew up in Overland Park, Kansas, and my teachers at my dance school there, I took at a dance school called Miller Marley, and I was involved in youth theater and my voice teacher, David Yoss, and then in college, I went to the University of Michigan. Their encouragement, honestly, because I didn't know if I wanted to do this for a profession. I didn't know if I was good enough, or if I had the right skill set and stuff. So they really saw something in me and encouraged me. So they really inspired me.
When you saw it, did you have this moment where you were just like, I have to be in this show?
There are a lot of moments in this show that are just brilliant. And I love how you have to pay attention in this show to notice all the nuances. It's an incredibly nuanced show, and I really appreciate that. It's written beautifully. The characters are written beautifully and honestly. I love the notion of second chances. I think that that's really beautiful, and I was just drawn to that. I was drawn to the notion of second chances and taking chances, and all of that kind of stuff, and chance and signs, and how we're all connected. I just love what the whole show is about. I think it just makes humanity better.
Okay, for people who want to pursue acting and musical theater as a career, what is your best advice for them?
The best advice would be to be yourself and know yourself, and know that you're enough, but at the same time always challenge yourself. Because you will surprise yourself at what you're capable of. So don't limit yourself. Study, learn, see as much theater as you can, and continue to kind of think outside the box in terms of what you think that you can do, because you'll surprise yourself.
To you, how important is it to go see other shows and do voice and do acting and do dance and doing stuff out of school and in school while preparing to pursue a career in theater?
That sounds like a really busy schedule. Are you talking more about high school and middle school and things? It's been a while since I've been in those grades, but I think have a life too. Though, I mean, you want to be focused, and if you're really driven to have this as your career, more power to you. Go for it and study as much as you can, but don't forget that our job is to mirror life as actors and to interpret people and be kind of vessels for that. So you don't want to become too, short-sighted and just being just immersed in one way of life. I'm a big believer in experiencing life as much as you can, because it will inform your acting and inform your performances. So do all that extracurricular stuff if that makes you happy and whatever. Just don't get burned out on it, and also try to keep a good balance of family and friends and life and new experiences and traveling and stuff, while also trying to hone your skills.
What does the story mean to you, and how has it helped / affected your life?
This story, I don't think you can't be unaffected by this story. Do you know the show?
Yeah, I've seen it twice.
Oh, it's so beautiful. I mean, it's just incredibly moving. It makes you think, it makes me want to be present in each moment, I think, and not take anything for granted. I think there's a lyric in it, we can leave life for tomorrow, we can leave life for tomorrow, or grieve all that we thought we'd do, or make each moment new. And I think that is a really beautiful lyric. Make each moment new, so that you live in the present and you don't think too much about the past or think too much about the future, but you live in the now. And that's kind of the lesson that I'm trying to really take away from it, because it can be hard to always live in the moment, and it's something that I strive to do. And it's nice to do this show because every day I am reminded to live in the moment and not take things for granted.
What has it been like working with LaShawns and James and Adina and Anthony?
Amazing. LaShawns, I'm obsessed with. She's my girlfriend. She's so easy to work with and just like a ray of light. I love working with her. Adina it's like it's a masterclass watching her. She's so lovely and gracious. James is hilarious and like the friendliest person you'll ever meet. He's just as charming off stage as he is on stage. Anthony is just brilliant and like such a cool guy and, loves baseball and is just like a really cool guy. And I love watching him on stage. He's just so committed and brilliant. These are people that, I have, admired for years as well. So, it's really cool to get to work with them because these are people that have inspired me in my career as well.
What is your favorite song on the show and why?
My favorite song changes every day. Right now, I'm really loving Ain't No Man Manhattan, the one that Anthony Rapp sings, Lucas sings, because it's all about how we're connected, and I just love that. I think that that's really cool. But honestly, each day something will affect me differently in a new way, and that's what's so cool about working on a show like this. There's always something that's going to affect you differently. But right now, I think it's that.
Okay, well, thank you for doing this interview with us. Follow Janine on Twitter and like her on Facebook and follow her on Instagram. And we will have links down below. And go watch her in the touring musical of If Then, which is coming to a city near you.